26 years you were a practicing Satanist, eventually then turning to Christ. Could you share a little bit about that story and your history with our audience this morning?
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Well, really, as much as I was a horrible human being growing up and 26 years involved in Satanism, the story isn't really about me being a Satanist. It's about the power of God and how that no matter how bad of a person you are, no matter what you've done, God can forgive you. That we worship a mighty God. That as much as he is 100% justice, he is also 100% mercy and love. Because clearly none of us deserve salvation.
Yes.
Myself is right out there in the forefront with all the rest of the horrible sinners. None of us deserve what God gave me. So at 10 years old, at my school, all the kids played a game called Bloody Mary, where all the kids go in the bathroom, flick off the light, and chant something in the mirror. And then if you do it right, it's what you're told, the spirit of a burn victim will show up in the mirror. And the first time we did it, the spirit of the burn victim shows up. Now that's actually a demon and not the spirit of a burn victim. And 49 kids ran out of the bathroom screaming. One child, one idiot of a child, now I can call this child an idiot because it was me, stayed in the bathroom and thought, oh, that's the most amazing thing ever. I chanted a phrase a couple of times and it showed up. Notes were sent home saying that if we did this, if we were caught at school, because kids were starting to get hurt doing this, if you were caught at school doing this, you'd be suspended for 3 days. So I didn't want to get suspended, so I started playing the game at home. And at the same time as that's going on, Dungeons and Dragons had come out a couple years prior, and I played that every weekend. So I did campaigns of Dungeons and Dragons, and I was always a wizard or a sorcerer in that, and just trying to do magic. And I kept asking my parents and my Baptist preacher, is magic real? Is this something you can really do? Because I'd seen all the movies that have magic in them, and magic was the coolest thing in the world. Magic showed people that could levitate. And when you're a kid, levitation is flying. Everybody wants to know how to fly. And, everybody said no, magic was fake. You couldn't do that. Not knowing that, oddly, there's like 30 verses in the Bible that tell you not to do magical things. Now, why would God tell you not to do something if it was impossible to do? It's like in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not lie. But if you couldn't lie, that commandment wouldn't be there. Thou shalt not kill. If it was impossible to kill somebody, that commandment wouldn't be there. It's an example of that is that we don't have speed limit signs on the road that say don't go 700 miles an hour. Well, no one can go 700 miles an hour. So that's not a law. So don't do these magical things. In the Old Testament, if you did these things, you were stoned to death. In the New Testament, you don't inherit the kingdom of God. Like there's no good option. And God doesn't make a distinction between white and dark magic or light and good. It's like all magic is bad. You can't do any of it. But my parents did not know those verses existed. Or if they knew them, they misinterpreted them. But, they thought, no, this is impossible. You can't do this. So when I discovered, I was playing D&D and I was doing the Bloody Mary game, and I just kind of thought, I wonder if I could do a magic spell in real life. Like, what would happen if I did something in real life? Now, you have to understand that I'm a nerd at this time. I'm probably still a nerd, but I was a serious nerd, and I'm already made fun of for stuff every day. I don't need to tell them, hey, I'm going to go home and do a magic trick so I can get made fun of even more. So I got to keep that secret to myself. And I decide, I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want to try a simple magic spell to see if it works. I mean, if it works, that'd be awesome. I'd be on top of the world. And I decided to do a magic spell for money, see what happens. I did a spell for money on like a Friday night. Saturday, I went out and found a can of tennis balls and a $5 bill. And I thought, all right, that's pretty cool. But that could have been a coincidence. Somebody had to find that. So the next Friday, I did it again. And the next Saturday, I went out and I found a $10 bill on the side of the road. And I'm like, all right, $15, 8 days. That ain't bad. But that could have been a coincidence, too. I'm a hard sell as a kid. So I go into the bathroom the next Friday, and I do my magic spell. Halfway into it, I do the Bloody Mary chant. The face appears, and I make sure it knows I'm doing a spell for money. The next day, I go out and I go play. And I'm in this large unpaved parking lot, and I find what looks like Monopoly money rolled up tight in rubber bands. So I put that in my pocket, and I go about playing. Later that night, everybody's in bed asleep, and I'm in my bedroom. Lights are out. I'm under the sheets. I've got a flashlight in my mouth, and I'm unraveling this treasure I've got. I unraveled all the rubber bands, and it looked like Monopoly money because I'd never seen a $100 bill. When I unraveled everything, I had 10 $100 bills. And at this moment, I know beyond a reasonable doubt that magic works. Magic is real. Magic is something I can do every day. In my 10-year-old thought process, I thought, you know, the car that I wanted more than anything in the world was a Lamborghini Countach. And it was like $325,000. So in 325 days,